Hey, welcome back. Look what we have here. I think this is the longest I've ever waited for a knife. In fact, I don't think that's even debatable. I do believe this was something I ordered in November. I don't remember when the pre-order was for the Mirage, but it has been a while, so this is exciting. Let's get into it. Hang on, let me do this off screen. Oh, wow. Did some pretty cool throw-ins on this one. So this is the Winterblade Co. Mirage. He threw in some stickers, a magnet. There's some extra hardware there. He threw in a cleaning towel. And there it is. Let's see what we think. All right. Interesting shape, first of all. It's a, ooh. That is pretty sweet. Oh yeah, good action. Oh man. I just feel like Winterblade Company is doing some things right now that are going to disrupt the knife space because of the innovation. It's just different. And I'd say more than the, which also is really fantastic, but more than the Factor, which is also awesome, don't get me wrong, but there's just some quirks to this one that seem missing here. It's really smooth and very like intuitive by comparison. Interesting grind on it. It's a very simple straight back, kind of a very, very simple design. When it's deployed, when the blade is out, it's very intuitive and natural in the hand. When it's in, it's a little weird in the hand, like getting to the right position. The angles they're kind of weird. Like I can't quite explain it, but you can see sort of, this looks like it's leaning backwards into the knife, whereas this looks like it's leaning out of the knife like it wants to go out. It's kind of interesting that it's sort of, the blade is actually leaning back into the knife, which is a little counterintuitive, but then it like comes out really nicely and easily. And this is what I felt like was missing. I love this M-lock. This is so cool. But what I felt was missing from the Factor, and gosh, you gotta love the sound of the Factor. But what I felt was missing from it was its ability to use the lock to deploy it, kind of like you can with a shark lock. I think that's just really convenient to have that one extra method, and you do get that here. You kind of have to keep it level in order for it to work. And what's interesting here, by the way, is that with the M-lock on this one, it's very drop shut. This one, because of this sort of spring-loaded way back, it can kind of bounce. You've probably seen me miss it a few times. So it's a little harder to get back in, but it's a little easier to get back out, to get out. So it's a interesting trade-off versus the Factor. It's sort of a reverse Factor in a way. I do like the fuller on the Factor. It's a little more accessible because it gives the whole length of the blade. I like the blade shape of the Factor a little more. That's it right there. That's what's missing though. And I like that you can choke up if you want to on there. Can't really, you can a little bit, but you can't really choke up here. So I feel like there's an opportunity to maybe shift things around so that you can get into that finger choil a little more. But man, this is really pretty neat. If you're giving it any sort of down angle, you're gonna have a really nice result there. It doesn't fire out of there like crazy, but you know, you're doing something with this hand, you need your blade out, you got it now. So I feel like it is, you know, in a total sense, it's a step up from the Factor, but there are some downsides of it versus the Factor. just, I mean, what else do you really compare these knives to other than other knives, I guess? But it's more fun to compare them to each other because they're kind of in a league of their own to some degree. So it's very natural. One of the benefits of this whole blade design, though, is it's much narrower. The factor is a little tall from end to end, so by having this sort of recede into the handle more, it feels like it's a more pocket-centric knife. Really nice pocket clip. Beautiful back spacer here with the M390. Yeah, very interesting. I'm really excited to try out the Factor B3, the Batch 3 Factor also, and kind of see how that is by comparison, if it takes some of the learnings from this guy and applies it to this guy. But definitely an evolution in a positive way, I think, from the Factor. And it's going to be really interesting to see what he does with some of his upcoming knives. So here you go, model Mirage, M390. This is the tie with the carbon fiber, or G10 it says, batch 1 of the Mirage. And then it has some info that you can learn if you're gonna like take your knife apart and stuff. I have a feeling this is an easier knife to work on than the Factor. I think the Factor was a little challenging to work on, and this immediately looks simpler. I really like the flow of the liners into the handle. It's very seamless. Obviously not so much over here, but like on this part, it's very seamless where the carbon fiber goes into the handle. This is definitely different. The M-LOK's very different design here. Take a look at the difference in how this is stepped on the back. There's some similarities, but there's some pretty big differences there. So it's kind of cool that he's continuing to also evolve this locking mechanism, which again, I think is one of the better locking mechanisms that's ever been produced, just in terms of all around. For me personally, I'd probably not go with this magnetic detent thing. It's kind of cool, but it's not that necessary. I'd probably rather this be more of like an axis lock, but the M-LOK, and just be able to whip it out myself instead of using the magnets to get it out, because then it would fold back in a little easier. You can fold it back in fine, but you can see if I miss it there, it kind of bounces out like that. So I'd rather have it easier to fold back in and not have it have any sort of assist on the deployment. Personally, I think that'd be a better all-around knife. So if you did a batch 2, that'd be my recommendation. The rest I think is really good. The rollout is really nice, very smooth. That is one of the best, lightest rollouts I've ever felt on a knife. Almost to the point where I'm kind of worried about the detent, but pretty dang good. So nicely centered, good weight to it. Yeah, I'm impressed. I think overall it's as good as I expected or better. So very cool knife. Good job yet again from Winterblade Co. And I think that's all for now. I'll probably do a follow-up video on this one once I get a little more time with it and see if I have any more revelations. So all for now. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.